there, my name is Goradia. If you haven't already seen my video on workaholism, go ahead and watch that one before continuing with this one. That will kind of set a nice foundation for what we're going to talk about here. I want to talk about, in the previous video, I spoke about how workaholism is the fight or flight response and how working to exhaustion can also add an additional fight or flight response because the body's needs are not being seen and taken care of. What I want to talk about today is a sort of spiritual way of looking at work and effort. So there was an enlightened teacher in India in the 20th century named Ramana Maharshi, and he's just my favorite. The things he taught, he realized directly, but many people said it's very similar to Vedanta. And one way of looking at work or effort that he talks about has really inspired me and helped me in regards to not being the doer. So the ego is the one that's doing, while who we really are, the true self, is the one who is being. And please, take whatever works for you. I'm not trying to preach at all, but if this sort of way of looking at things is a benefit to you, then what I want to submit here is something that Ramana Maharshi said. He said, "Make no effort either to work or to give up work. Your very effort is the bondage." And what I think he means here is that effort to achieve, that effort to get somewhere, to be recognized, egoic effort, is the bondage because we're trying to obtain something that we don't have any control of. And that's where a lot of people can work to exhaustion, trying to make money, trying to get recognition, trying to get fame, trying to not feel like they're not productive, to feel that they're contributing, whatever the reason is. It can be a bondage if we're trying to do it in an egoic way, even if it's well-intentioned, even if it's a noble intention. We just may not be aware of the fact that we're doing it to serve an identity, an egoic identity, even if that identity is, I want to be a good person. So these are ways that we can really deplete ourselves. He says, the feeling I work, so I work is in quotes, the feeling I work is the hindrance. Ask yourself, who works? Remember who you are. Then the work will not bind you. It will proceed automatically. So notice he's not saying give up work. It's giving up the attachment to what the work means or what we think it can give us, and not even thinking that we are the one who is working, but that work is just happening. And he says, who works? So is it I, the ego, the personality, the one who is known as Nina, or is it the one who is behind the personality, the true self? What comes before all of these things that we think of as humanness? So the spirit, the consciousness, the soul, the essence, awareness, presence, you can think of it in all these different ways, but it's more of a direct realization of it. It's not something you can put words to describe. It's something that as you perceive it directly, it's hard to even speak because it's ineffable. It's something that you are, and it's not an experience. You are the experiencer. So it's not an experience like my thoughts, my feelings, my body, my sensations, the things I can see or hear or anything from my five senses. It's a direct realization of who one is. It can be silence of mind, it can be spaciousness, but it's that experiencing that. And so when he says, who is the one who works? We have to see, like, am I doing this from my ego? Or am I doing this without attachment? Remember who you are. Remember you're the one before the egoic personality. Then the work will not bind you. It will proceed automatically. So I'm curious if any of you have tried this before, if you've come across this teaching before, and how it's impacted your work. I've noticed for myself that when I've given up working in the way that I used to, and I've surrendered a lot of it, it seems that like it seems like when I'm working from the ego, I feel like, oh, it's all going to fall apart. If I don't keep working, it's all going to fall apart. And then when I surrender it, it doesn't fall apart. Or if it does fall apart, that part was supposed to fall apart. But it's like a liberation. It's like, I don't have to hold all this up by myself. It's just happening. And so this teaching is not like, hey, let's never put effort or work in again. That's not what it's saying. It's saying, don't have egoic attachment to the effort. So we still put effort into life and into awakening if that's your path. But a lot of what happens along the way is grace. And we just try to put that effort in without the attachment, because the attachment will bind us. It will be our bondage, as he said. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.